Sad news out of the sports world. John Thompson, the first black coach to win the NCAA basketball championship, has died at the age of 78. The Hall of Fame coach reached the NCAA tournament 20 times with the Georgetown Hoyas. In 1984, his team, led by star Patrick Ewing, cut down the nets after winning the national championship. Thompson's family confirmed the news today, just 2 days before his 79th birthday. They called their father an inspiration to so many, saying he devoted his life to developing young people not simply on, but most importantly, off the basketball court. I want to bring in CBS News special correspondent James Brown. Hi, James. Thank you so much for joining us. You are a D.C. native. What did Coach Thompson mean to both the city and to Georgetown?
Tanya, he was and is iconic for the very reasons that you stated on that intro. Clearly, he wanted to establish a winning program at Georgetown, unquestionably did that. You mentioned the first African-American coach to win the NCAA title, but he also made it clear to all of the student athletes who played for him. On his desk was that iconic remembrance, if you will, of the basketball that was deflated to make the point that if you're not a champion in the game of life, then you're not a champion. And if you look at all of the athletes, the student athletes who played for him, the overwhelming majority are successful in the game of life. And that is ultimately the metric that we should all judge one's success.
You know, as you point out, one thing that he was overwhelmingly known for was investing not only in his players on the court, but off the court. Can you give us some specific examples of how he did that?
You know, I think one that actually involves me, Tanya, when there was a local outfit, I think it was television station, when Georgetown basketball was on the ascendancy. They had Wes Unseld, the Hall of Famer, God bless him, with the then named Washington Bullets, and yours truly as candidates to be a part of that broadcast team. The station ran it by John Thompson, and he said no. He called me and told me directly, JB, I just want you to understand that when I sit in the living room and talk to the parents of these young men, I'm telling them I'm committed to their young people for life. And if I can't advocate on behalf of some of my student athletes who have every bit the talent to be good in broadcasting and recommend you over them, I'm a hypocrite. And I felt that to be one of the most significant calls I've ever gotten to heighten my already high respect for him, Tanya.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that personal story with us. Thompson, of course, will be remembered for bringing Georgetown basketball to prominence. It all started there. What else do you think we will remember about his legacy, both on and off the court?
A passionate advocate on behalf of his student athletes. He didn't tolerate anything that was deviating. I love the, if you will, the structure, Tanya, that he set up with the program. He wanted to win, make no mistake about it, an ex-basketball player himself, a backup to Bill Russell of Boston Celtics fame. But Coach knew that the commitment was for his student athletes to be successful after basketball. He had a retired nun, Mary Finland, be the academic coordinator, who he gave total autonomy to determine if the athletes were meeting the mark in the classroom. And if they weren't, she had the autonomy to say they had to be sit down, because John Thompson knew that winning is addictive and one could start to slip in that commitment by being intoxicated by that. He wanted to ensure that didn't happen, and indeed, there are examples where she stepped in, said a player wasn't meeting the mark. Coach Thompson put him down or helped him to transfer to another school because he was committed to that objective.
James Brown, thank you so much for sharing so many details about that extraordinary human being who touched so many lives. Thank you.
Tanya, Rivero, good talking with you.
And once again, legendary Georgetown basketball coach John Thompson has died at the age of 78.